Wondering what the Taxation UK version paper is all about? Not sure how the exam is structured or where to focus your preparation? If you're unsure how to tackle key topics like income tax, corporation tax, capital gains or VAT, don't worry, you're not alone. In this video, we'll break it down, the tax paper, its syllabus, the exam format, and share some practical tips to help you succeed. So, let's get started.
The aim of the applied skills level overall is to build on existing knowledge and understanding and to develop strong, broad and practical finance skills required of future strategic professional accountants in any sector or industry. So it's a very broad range of papers at this level. It covers law, performance management, which is essentially management accounting, taxation, and then financial reporting and audit and assurance, and then finance, so financial management. So it's a good grounding for the qualification and work of an accountant.
Let's take a quick look at where ACCA TX UK version paper sits within the bigger ACCA qualification structure. TX, or Taxation, is a foundational skills level exam. It equips you with the knowledge and skills to compute UK tax liabilities, not just for individuals, but also for companies. You'll cover a wide range of taxes: income tax, corporation tax, capital gains tax, VAT, NICs, and even inheritance tax. But it's not only about numbers. You'll also learn how to apply relief and exemptions, interpret tax rules, and understand the ethical side of tax planning. It's very applied and very real world. Now, where does tax fit into the ACCA journey? It builds on the concept that you've covered already in applied knowledge level papers. So BT gives you the business context, MA helps you understand financial decision making, and FA introduces you to core accounting principles which are essential for understanding taxable profits. Then, once you've passed TX, it directly supports papers like financial management, FM, because tax affects investment and financing decisions, and audit and assurance, AA, where understanding tax compliance plays a role in audit work. Finally, it all fits into strategic business reporting, SBR, where your understanding of tax becomes part of broader financial reporting and ethical decision-making. So, tax is not an isolated paper. It's a critical building block in your ACCA journey. Now, let's take a look at what's actually included in the ACCA TX syllabus, the UK version. It's structured into 7 parts, each focused on a different aspect of UK taxation. Part A is all about the UK tax system and how it's administered. You'll cover why taxes exist, how tax law is structured, the self-assessment system, deadline, penalties, and what happens during compliance checks. Then comes Part B, income tax and NIC liabilities. This is a major focus of the exam. You learn how to calculate tax for employed and self-employed individuals, including property and investment income. It also includes now national insurance contributions work for both employees and the self-employed. Part C covers chargeable gains, in other words, capital gains tax. You look at how to calculate gains and losses of the sale of assets like shares and property, and how to apply reliefs and exemptions. In Part D, you'll deal with inheritance tax. This includes how tax is calculated on gifts and estates, and how exemptions can reduce the tax payable. It's a smaller area, but one you don't really want to overlook. Then we have Part E, corporation tax liabilities, which is where you move into company tax. You'll cover how to calculate profits for companies, claim capital allowances, and understand the impact of group structures. Part F focuses purely on VAT, value-added tax. You'll need to know when a business should register, how to calculate VAT due, and how special schemes like the flat rate or cash accounting schemes work. And finally, Part G covers employability and technology skills. It isn't something you need to study separately, there's no extra material for it. Instead, it's embedded throughout your course and comes down to how you interact with the computer-based exam platform. You'll be exposed to navigate screens, work with spreadsheets, and present your answers clearly and professionally, just like you would in a real job. So that's the full scope of ACCA TX UK version syllabus, from income tax to inheritance tax, corporation tax to VAT, all supported by digital skills you'll need to pass the exam confidently.
It is a 3-hour computer-based exam and the pass mark is 50%. It is both computational and discursive, and you will be given the relevant tax tables in the exam. So they will be on the computer-based exam. You'll be able to press a button and get the tax tables up. You'll also have an option of a scratch pad on your computer-based exam. So that's for you to do some workings, or you could have a blank scrap piece of paper. You can also use your own calculator or use the on-screen calculator. I suggest you look at this before you get into the exam so you can decide what you like best, whether you want to use your own you want to use your own calculator or the blank scrap paper provided, or whether you want to use everything that is provided for you on the computer-based exam itself. So the exam itself consists of 3 sections. We've got section A with 30 marks. And this consists of 15 2-mark objective test questions. The questions you'll see in here will be things like fill in the blanks. So there'll be an empty box, you've got to put a number in, or maybe a word, usually it's a number. Multiple choice, choose from A, B, C or D. Multiple response, which 2 of the following are correct. Pick list, choose various different answers. And click on the box, so choose the right box. Choose the answer that is correct in the box. Section B is 30 marks, and this consists of 3 10-mark questions. And again, they are objective test questions, but this time they are based on a scenario. So each question, yes, it's got 10 marks, but it will consist of 5 objective test questions, and they will be based on a short scenario. So read that scenario very carefully and then have a look at the questions that follow. They will be the same types of questions as we discussed in section A. The exam section C is 40 marks, and in this section we have 3 questions again, but this time you've got 1 10-mark question, and this could be on any area of the syllabus. So you must learn the syllabus. It's quite broad, but with all these little 2-mark questions, there's an opportunity for them to test pretty much every area of the syllabus. Now, you don't want to say, oh, I really don't like VAT, I'm not going to bother with VAT, and then it come up as a 10-mark question. Okay, that's a sure way to fail the exam. So make sure that you cover all the taxes and as much, if not all of the syllabus before the exam. You've then got 2 15-mark questions. One is on income tax and one is on corporation tax. These are what we call constructed response questions. So for these questions, your pro forma learning is key. Make sure you know what an income tax pro forma looks like. Make sure you can get it down nice and quickly, and make sure you know exactly where the numbers are going to go. So tips for sitting the exam. The key thing really is time management. So section A, you've got 54 minutes per section, and there are 15 questions. So it might be worth, during your studying time, to set yourself 15 questions in that time limit. There's no point doing 15 questions and saying, well, I'm brilliant, I got them all right, but it took you 3 hours. Okay, you need to sit down in that time limit and make sure that you can complete 15 questions. Section B, you've got these 3 10-mark questions. Each question is 18 minutes. Okay, so 18 minutes for each of the 3 10-mark questions. And remember, each of those questions has 5 questions in it. So again, you want to practice these in full and to the time of 18 minutes, because actually 18 minutes isn't that long. Section C, 18 minutes for the 10-mark question and 27 minutes for the 15-mark question. Again, you have to practice these to time, okay, just to make sure that you can get everything down in time and get your answers and your workings presented nicely. Tips for sitting the exam in sections A and B: read the question. I know everybody always says that, read the question, but people get into an exam, they start to panic and they don't read properly. Okay, so look for the words correct or incorrect. Okay, it will say which of the following is correct, which of the following is incorrect. Okay, read it quite carefully because people often choose to see what they want to see, okay, and then choose the wrong answer. Note the number of options to choose as well. So it might say which two of the following. So choose two answers. There's no point just putting one answer in. And beware of distractors. Now, distractor answers are those ones that look like the right answer, but are just a little bit different or a little bit wrong. Okay, so for example, you'll have a calculation to do, let's say on the company car benefit, and partway through that benefit, you get to a number and you think, brilliant, that number's there. But actually, that number then needs to be time apportioned. So it's actually the number after that one that's the correct answer. So don't be distracted by the wrong answers. They will be there deliberately to trip you up. Okay, so do make sure you have completed your calculation to the requirement. Also following rounding instructions. Usually you round to no decimal places. Okay, so we just round up to the whole number. The only occasion usually I think where you will have rounding might be in national insurance. Okay, so just read the question very carefully again. In the exam, eliminate the wrong answers. So some answers look ridiculously wrong or sound ridiculously wrong, like, I don't know, tax evasion is legal and we should all do it. You know, that's definitely a wrong answer. Okay, so eliminate anything that looks like it's definitely the wrong answer. If there's two similar answers, often one of those answers is correct. So you could sort of focus on those if you wanted to and work backwards if you can. If you're still stuck, just flag it. Flag it and come back to it. You can always come back to questions that you've been stuck on, okay? Even if you guess. Now, in a multiple choice question, what is the point in not answering the question? Just stick down C or B or A or D. Okay, it doesn't matter. If you can't do it, throw an answer down. You've got a 1 in 4 chance of getting it right. So that takes us on to guessing. Beware of outliers. Okay, there will be those ones that I've mentioned before that are definitely the wrong answers. Don't go for those. So if you've got 3 answers in the 50s and you've got another one that's 700, it's unlikely that the 700 will be the right answer. Okay. Assess differences between answers. So if there's a couple that you're choosing between, read the question again, look at the answers, look at what's different between those answers, and then see if that helps you in any way. And then moving on to section C, constructed response questions. Okay, you've got 3 of them, remember. There'll be word processing pages, spreadsheets, and there could be pre-formatted templates. So they could put down an income tax template for you to fill in. Or they've given you a blank spreadsheet and you have to construct that template. There will also be the word processing pages then for any written answers. Again, read the requirements first. It's really important that you understand what they want from you. Okay, so if you read the requirement, you can then go and read the scenario and use that scenario time, reading time, to figure out how you're going to answer this question.
Studying for this exam. First of all, make sure you book the exam at the start of your study period, and then you know what you're aiming for. You can see how much time you've got to divide up between now and when you're actually going to sit that exam. Make sure when you're practicing questions, wherever you can, you're practicing in the real exam software. The Practice Test Academy software is very close, or the ACCA software itself you could use. Make sure you always do questions to time. It's a bad habit to get into, to give yourself ages and ages and ages to do every single question because you won't have the luxury of time in the real exam. As we said earlier, that section C is a blind spot for many, especially the words in section C, so make sure you give time to those and that will put you ahead of the field. Cover the whole syllabus, even the hard bits. In fact, focus on the bits that you can't do when you're studying. It's tempting to stick to the bits you feel comfortable with, but the exam is designed to try and cover the whole syllabus, so you'll be preparing yourself best in working through the whole syllabus. Make sure that you learn mainly through question practice. Sitting and learning a file is a very passive way to try and learn. It's very hard for it to cram it into your head that way. It's often for people much more effective to have a go at questions once they've studied, have a go at questions, and then if there's any questions they can't do, then flick back into the notes to help you. And that's a much more proactive way of learning. It should stick in your head better. Focus on what you can't do in your study time, and then focus on what you can do on the day. And keep track of the questions you've done. So when you have a go at questions, try to keep the answers away from the questions themselves so that you can use those questions again later on down the line. I always used to keep track of the questions I got wrong in particular, and then after a bit of time had gone by, I'd have another go at them just to make sure I could now do them. So when you're studying, keep a diary and write what you're going to do every single day in those study sessions. And commit that. Put yourself first in this process and commit to those study sessions. Don't let other people and other things take them away. I'm not saying here you need to study every single day. You might well put a break day in your diary. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But stick to the dates that you've put in your diary. Give yourself regular breaks when you're studying. Every sort of 10-15 minutes or so, just look away from the screen for perhaps a minute and relax your shoulders and so on. Every hour, make sure you take a good 10 or 15 minute break. To be honest, even if you don't feel like you need it, take that break, walk around, have a stretch, have a drink, and that will keep the energy levels up for a much longer period of time. Try and keep your study sessions output based. Now, what I mean by that is that when you're saying, I'm going to study now, rather than saying, I'm going to study for 2 hours, say I'm going to do these questions, and when these questions are done satisfactorily, then I'm finished. And that motivates you to get down and start working hard. If you give yourself a time limit, there's every incentive to slow down and waste time in those kinds of sessions. So give yourself output-based targets. The other benefit of those is that if you plan your work in that way, you're guaranteed to get through the work you need to get through by the time you get to the exam. And make sure you keep practicing as much as you can in the real computer-based exam environment.
If the ACCA taxation paper, UK variant, feels overwhelming, we are here to help you succeed. Our tailored courses and resources are designed to make your preparation as smooth and effective as possible. If you prefer video lectures, we offer 2 options: the Master Course, which includes 4 mock exams, a comprehensive question bank, and detailed video lectures to build your confidence in tackling any TK UK variant topics. And the second one is Ultimate Course, which gives you even more: 2 extra mock exams, official BPP ebooks viewable via our website, and personalized marking service for 3 of our mocks to ensure that you're on track. If you're on a budget and don't need video lectures, you can opt for our practice kit with a full bank of exam-style questions, or focus on standalone mocks to sharpen your skills under real exam conditions. Whatever your goal or budget, we've got the right resources to help you master the ACCA Tax UK variant and pass with confidence. Thank you and good luck!